Okay. Did I get the photo you sent yesterday? I did. Yes. Thank you.
I'll go ahead.
Oh, that's why. Okay. We're resting. Hey, whoa, where am I? Okay, let's take that. I do have a bunch of stuff to... Huh? What? I do have a bunch of stuff to sell. Blah, 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 blah. Keep that, keep that. Actually, I can sell those. Those are fine. None of this stuff is magical. Go price ascending. Magical. That isn't. Okay. Everything else can be sold. Hey, Graves, what's up, man? Zombie Jester. I'll take his book.
I shall not fail.
The bard stands before you looking rather bizarre. He clearly inherited his waistcoat, which was once expensive, but is now worn and tattered, covered in motley patches and embroidered with skulls. The musician's face is covered with white powder, and his eyes and cheekbones accented in black. So long as I'm not getting old, I'll sing of the fool, humble but bold. You there, general, a coin for the minstrel. What are you singing about? Of horrors and miracles, of demons and the dead. I'll sing you to sleep, and you'll wet your bed. Here in the Stolen Lands, there are horrors everywhere. Enough for a new song every day. Didn't rhyme. I've been to the Shrike Hills and returned with a dozen new songs. Songs of the insane Stag Lord, of evil fae pranks and trollish feasts, werewolves and lake dragons and spider dances. And now I'm here to write about one Cyclops. Now I'm writing a new song. It's about an inn where today's travelers are fed meat carved from yesterday's travelers. By the way, it's just a tale. It's not just a tale, it's the truth. I've been here and tasted their human meat pies myself and barely escaped with my skin. Where'd you find an inn like this? At the Blackstone's Ford. If you don't believe me, go there yourself and look what they have in their posts. Who are you? A raucous rascal of no small fame. The Zombie Jester is my name. Don't look like a zombie. For now, it seems I'm still alive, but Caden only knows what will happen tomorrow. I was given this name for my other songs. Other bards sing of heroes and romance, flowers, and other such rot. My songs are far more interesting. Okay, bye. Good riddance! Dressed in clean clothes, shiny boots, and in full accessory, Wylas Gunderson looks even more jovial than he did when you met him on the road. Ah, there you are, lady. What a pleasure it is to see you again. Tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm quite a boring person, believe me. Boredom has led me to learn a dozen ancient languages, decipher a trove of ancient manuscripts and chronicles, and riddle out the locations they mention, and the relics hidden there. In between these rather boring tasks, I've written a few brilliant novels and a dozen poems. Indeed, I had to flee to this backwater from my admirers and fans. I do hope no one here knows the name of Willis Gunderson, or I shall have to flee again. Fame, I'm afraid, is the most boring thing in the world. So what brings a scientist, traveler, and researcher of antiquities to our savage lands? I was led here by some information I discovered while translating the writings on an ancient stone panel. It was a heavy granite slab the size of a door, but a mere pocket notebook for those who made their marks on it. Ancient Cyclopes. Cyclopses. They pronounced it Cyclopes earlier. I wonder if that's the correct pronunciation for multiple Cyclops. It was they who wrote their inscriptions on the slab. Ancient Cyclopes, unlike today's poor savages, were darkly clever. They maintained a brilliant civilization through dreadful magic. What was written on the slab? Nothing terribly significant. It describes Cyclops settlements across the tors of Lebanese, and mentioned that incredible magic treasures had been stored here in the past. But that was thousands of years ago, and there's scarce or scant? There's scarce a chance that anything remains today. Even that bracelet I found was hardly anything more than a valuable knickknack. But even if I don't find any real artifacts, I will continue the search in the name of science. I'm happy to tell you whenever you'd like. So you're going to write a book about us? Oh, we're well beyond that. I've already started. Your comrades from Varnhold already gave me all the background. I'll need to flesh out the first few chapters. I'm still thinking of a title, but the chapter about your encounter with the centaurs near the city of Hollow Eyes will be called Ripples on the Water. Poetic, relevant to the location, and it foreshadows mysterious events to come. I heard that Gerbil Dog, Jubilist Narthropple. Bro, he's in my party. How do I not know his name? Was visiting your western neighbors. I don't know anyone who still attends his lectures or reads his articles. The obnoxious gnome can never manage to do anything without sarcastic jokes at the expense of his own audience. But never mind. How unfair would it be if a well-known publicist showed interest in one new barony while leaving its neighbor, our sweet and slightly wild Varnhold, out in the cold? Do you see now how lucky you are that Willis Gunderson himself paid a visit to Varnhold? Jubilist Narthropple himself in our lands? He exhales in indignation. That was rude, my good lady. You might as well pretended to just been impressed by me as by him, but fine. As you please. Willis Gunderson has yet to show you what he's worth. And what kind of character will I be in your book? You will be the assistant to the main character, Baron Varn, but don't despair. Usually supporting characters are loved all the more, and they get into all sorts of fun that the main character simply couldn't be forgiven for. You know what, Gwendolyn? I think you'll make the most charming character in the book, and after its smashing success, they'll be begging me for more. Perhaps I'll make you the main character in the series. Okay. Alright, anyway. Have you seen that Galton troublemaker, the one who started the uprising in the city? Indeed I have. I was just telling my friends here about the touching sign of friendship and affection that Baron Vard showed to me when these troublemakers came in with their silly talk. I had to spend a few minutes explaining to the lady how ridiculous her messages were, and how disgusting it is how she expresses them. That, I told her. So then the troublemaker ran out of the tavern. She's not going to risk crossing paths with me again. I suspect she's on her way back to Galt. I highly doubt it. Thanks, I'll see you later. Well, we can cross that off our list. Simple enough. Dirty. Equipment. Go ahead and sell those as well. What else you got? That's 4 grand. There's another dude that sold better stuff. Show me your wares. All the scrolls, all the potions. Ring of Protection 2 is 8,000. Book of Resistance 2 is only 4,000. I think I'll hold on to my money for now. I also need to talk to a special dish. The Baron must decide whether such tales are to be paid any heed. Okay. Talk to Cephal. Let's go do that. Alright, so what do we got here? This should go there. Stunning Fist. Okay, I could do that 4 times. Stunning Fist, Disarm, True Strike Key Power, True Strike Swift Action. I think I should use my Swift Actions first and then my Key Power version later. Extra Attack, Fatigue, Barkskin. Let's do this. Okay. With that Magar, I'm so angry with him. Why do I still bother? I should have left the party after that idiocy in Ustalov, or at least after the debacle in Maivan. If I had any sense, I would never have gotten involved at all. What do you think about Gunderson? I cannot see any point in keeping that loafer in the capital. To hear him singing about questionable feats at the tavern and flirting with anything that moves, people like him can be useful out there in the ruins where they crawl around discovering interesting facts and useful items. I would give him a half-empty purse, perhaps even a bit of magical gear, and send him back out on the road. If fortune favored him, he might return with something interesting. If not, then good riddance. And that bracelet he scrounged up is, in fact, quite interesting itself. It is not magical, no, but it may point to an ancient Cyclops treasure and riches worth far more than gold. I would like to show this ancient artifact to a knowledgeable historian, but where are we going to find one in this backwater? You and Magar constantly argue about everything. How did you manage to bring the Varnling host to the victory despite the discord? By a miracle, no less. Varn is a natural tactician able to turn defeat into victory with a single maneuver. But strategy, long-term planning, politics, the words are meaningless to him. How many times has he won a war only to lose the peace? How many times has everything we've paid for in blood somehow ended up in someone else's vault? Anyway, do not pretend you are a passive bystander in our arguments. Whatever we discuss, you always have an opinion, do you not? Hmm. You both defend your opinions so ardently that you often overlook things. Quite right. You often point out something that allows both of us to see a problem from another angle. But let us be honest. Regardless of the point of view, Magar, Varn, and I commonly arrive at opposite conclusions. How did you end up in a party of mercenaries? I did not end up in one, I created it. I sold everything I had and combined my efforts with a certain hot-tempered young man, set on advancing his humble glory as much as I was on increasing my humble savings. As you can see, it was a successful venture. However, I often still ask myself if it was the best decision of my life or the greatest error. We fought together for a... Oh, okay. We fought together for a long time, but I still don't know much about you. Where are you from? People know as much as I allow, which I grant is little. However, a person is defined not by their past, but by their actions. The way they behave when faced with danger and temptation, how they hold up under pressure, and how they spend their leisure. After our many travels together, you know me better than most. Sweep the leg. As for my homeland, it is of no importance. They do not miss me, and I have no longing to return. What do you think about the barony's prospects? I am none too hopeful, at least not until Varn gets his head straight. Starts learning to see things like a politician, not a brawler. The experience of our shared ventures does not reassure me. I need to remind you how we hunted the noose, the infamous witch. A cheap masquerade is no stratagem. 2 words he considered before launching into action. Why not? In any case, it is difficult to ruin something that is fundamentally beneath criticism, by which I mean Magar's initial plan. Using a party leader as bait, risking havoc in case of his death, was completely insane, and that sums up Varn. He is capable of great insights and bright ideas, but he risks too much and has no sense of consequences. Cannot vouch for the fate of Varnhold if he does not rein himself in. Wanted to talk about something? Yes, that puffed up fool Varn is destroying this barony faster than we can build it. An alliance with our western neighbor is madness, and now he is sending them gifts. He takes resources we work so hard to obtain, and which are so scarce around here, and gives them away freely to our principal adversary. You have your own take on everything. Maybe you can see something I'm missing. Maybe it really is better that I retire. Why should I stand watch as everything I have built these many years crumbles to ruin? I know not what to do with him or even how to talk to him. Tell me, what do you think of all this madness? Magar's diplomacy may yet play into your plans. If he convinces our neighbors that we're friends, they'll drop their guard and we can attack by surprise. Or we could even unite and attack Rosalind together. Yes, that is true. But if we do enter an alliance with them against the Aldori, then we will never take the Silver Step. And I do not wish to have a mansion on its shores. And you know Varn, he is not the kind to make alliances only to backstab later. Perhaps we should send an instigator to our neighbors to persuade them to attack us first, to give us cause for annexation. I'm gonna get out of here. Yes, you and I are both busy people now. What a joke to be advisors to a baron who's doing everything in his power to destroy his own state. Man, just keep pouring the XP on. Let's go. I'll take it. Alright, we talked to Cephal. Of cows and other matters of political importance. Alright, let's go back to the tavern. So how has y'all's guys' day been today? As we wander around and talk to people. Svelid? Svelid, the tavern owner, a freckled halfling waves to you gladly. Oh, I hear you're the general now. Congrats. This calls for celebration. Do you want a drink or just the water while you're on duty? Her wife, Karita, stops wiping cups and gives you a wry look. If I had to serve as the general of Varnhold, I'd have to start the day with a glass of gin. But you do that anyway. Who said the tavern owner's life is easier than the general? What's on the menu? Chocolate ice cream. Taffy. Bro, I want those. How'd you end up in Varnhold? We used to have a tavern in Galt. And then one day we didn't. They confiscated it for the needs of the revolution. But I suppose we should be grateful and they let us go alive. It might have finished us off as oppressors and exploiters. Luckily, they were too busy enacting revolutionary justice in our wine cellar, and we managed to sneak away. The scumbags took everything we had, except our common sense. Well, we broke our backs for a few years to scrounge up enough to open a new venue. We heard about this new barony, the new town, so we came here, and it's quite a gold mine. The town is growing, there are more and more people, and all of them need to eat and drink. If Desna wills it, we'll be rich. I've had a report that a troublemaker from Galt was seen here. Yeah, that scumbag. We've seen a lot like her. She wandered in here talking about tyranny and justice, when really she was just looking for something to steal. She came in with a small group. I think they were from a farm that's near the town. They sat here for a long time saying things that made me sick to hear. First we were talking about Ignash the sorcerer, saying he was a bloodsucker, tricking simple people. Then they talked about how to get into the armory to get some weapons. They decided they couldn't manage it, too many guards. But then they remembered there would be pitchforks and scythes in the barn. In the end, they started talking to people, trying to stir them up for a riot, but no one would listen. I showed them the door and sent a word to the treasurer right away. I don't know where they went. I think they said something about a fisherman on the river. Help, help, I'm being oppressed. Ooh, he must be a king. Why do you think he's a king? He doesn't have shit all over him. Oh, God, that movie is so good. Alright, let's talk to Ignash. I'm looking for a troublemaker who has been stirring the people to a riot. Have you seen her? Yes, I saw her. Yes, I did. She picked my pockets clean, but that's alright. A pocket is not a belly. If they cut it, you can stitch it up and fill it again. But the things she stole won't be good for her. No, they won't. She's invited trouble upon herself, silly girl. Tell me my fortune. The old man hides the money away and takes out a handful of bizarre dice with different numbers of sides and squiggly marks instead of numbers. He shakes the dice in his wrinkled, trembling hands, casts them, and studies the results for a long time, his lips moving in silence and quietly counting on his fingers. Excuse me, you walk by secret paths and will be coming to a crossing without roads. You step forward, you will lose your way. If you step back, you will be lost. But either way, the liar's voice will find you. If you listen, he will deceive you. I have to go. Go wherever you want, but you can't get away from your fate. Bye. This guy just has a regular voice like, yep, go do whatever you want. I don't care. Fishermen on the river might know something about them. a fisherman on the river.
The path is clear.
Up the revolution. We will win. And anyway, I'm just going to leave that guy alone. Is this the barn over here? They took the pitchforks, scythes, and flails from the barn, anything that could be used as a weapon. None of the general's leads have yet uncovered the troublemaker. Maybe the tavern owners were able to discover something. So they have weapons, and they've riled up some of the people. I looked around, but I haven't found the troublemaker yet. Do you have any news? She never appeared in the tavern again, but people are saying. You hear voices and clanking iron from outside. Looks like a mob is gathered near the tavern. You hear the familiar voices of your guards, and another voice ringing out, yelling sharp slogans about tyranny. Svelida turns pale and reaches for the crossbow she keeps hidden under the counter. It looks like you won't have to go looking for her after all. Come on, General, let's give it to these scoundrels.
Let us be careful.
Punch him right in the cooter biscuit. The situation is growing heated. Varn's guards, their weapons drawn, stand opposite of a group of settlers who are yelling revolutionary slogans. You see some of the local fishermen among them. There's a half-orc woman in the front row wearing a bright cape and shaking her weapon. She's obviously not from around here. Down with tyranny! We will not be treated like cattle. You can't enslave us. Calm down now. Noticing you, the guard sighs with relief. Here, the general of His Grace Varn. I'm sure she will deal with your problems, so we can all go home peacefully. Address the settlers. What's the problem here? Leonta Misho. The problem is the autocracy of the tyrant. Come see the violence inherent in the system. Ugh. Bloody peasant! Those are just generalities. What exactly happened? Kings, barons, earls, ordinary people are like cattle to the nobility. We will not allow this new state to become yet another prison for the people. We groan under the yoke of tyranny. We demand that Magar Varn relinquish his power, proclaim these lands our people's republic, and gather a constituency assemblance. I did a perception check. Okay. Alright. And what is that on your belt? Why, it looks like a wand of invisibility. What need do you have of that? What wand? We're talking about the cows and she's going on about a wand. They're just trying to distract us. Oh wow, this is going great. Plus 9 and it's a 27. So I'd have to roll an 18. This woman is an instigator. She put you up to this. She wants you to fight the soldiers so she can play political games while you spill your life's blood. Oh yes, the henchmen of the dictators see evil everywhere because evil is all they know. But we are not like them. Our hearts are pure and our intentions are noble. To arms, my friends! To arms for our freedom! Fired by the revolutionary speech, the settlers draw their weapons and move towards the guards. The latter raise their weapons and grit their teeth. Bloodbath seems inevitable. Succeeded at a perception check. You notice the revolutionary take the wand from her belt. She's about to cast a spell. I'm going to do mobility and grab her hand. Succeeded. The settlers look more closely at the wand the half-orc is holding, and his face grows dark with anger. That's the wand of invisibility we took from old Ignash the sorcerer, so that's why you needed it. So that's your plan. Bring us here, set the soldiers on us, and disappear? You Galton snake. Tie her up, throw her in the prison, or lead her to the chopping block. It's not our business anymore. Ha! Kidney punch. Let's go, everyone, before the Baron's guards cut us to pieces. I guess there's no luck for us in Varnhold. We'll try to settle somewhere else. Maybe things will be better in the Shrike Hills. Fishermen exchange apprehensive looks. Well, we'll go too, all right? We have some silly things to have written on our walls. We'll wash them off right away. Yeah, I leveled up. As did almost everybody else. Bonk. I got another key strike. Cold iron and silver. Weapon finesse. Wait, there was something I said I wanted to get. Wait, Crane Riposte? You only take a -1 penalty on attack rolls for fighting defensively. Whenever you lose the dodge bonus from Crane Ring because of an attack you missed by 4 or less, the enemy provokes an attack of opportunity. Whoa, that's sick! Alright, sorry, what is this? At 7th level, the monk's unarmed attacks are treated as cold iron and silver for the purpose of overcoming damage reduction. Sick. Lawful. And adamantine. Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go! Alright. This guy is my ranged caster, that's right. Arcane medium armor. They gain proficiency with medium armor. A Magus can cast spells while wearing medium armor without incurring the normal arcane spell failure chance. Like any other arcane spellcaster, a Magus wearing heavy armor or using a shield incurs a chance of failure. Man, he can wear medium armor now? That's awesome. Well, let's put him in medium armor then, shall we? Deadly aim. You can choose to take a -1 penalty on all range attacks to get a +2 on damage rolls. Whenever your base attack reaches +4, and for every +4 thereafter, the penalty increases by -1. And the bonus to damage increases by +2. You must choose this feat before making an attack roll, and its effects last until your next turn. The bonus damage does not apply to touch attacks or effects that do not deal hit point damage. Deft hands. Greater spell penetration. You get a +2 bonus on caster level checks made to overcome a creature's spell resistance. Get that. Right, level 3 spells. Haste to all allies within 30 feet for 1 round per level, so that'd be like 7 rounds. And then, lightning bolt. Let's take lightning bolt. That seems good. Cleric? Nothing. He does get a feat. Weapon focus, spell focus, allied spellcaster. You are my cleric. Extra channel for a cleric, that's always good. Oh, I wanted to get improved initiative on her. Oh well, that's fine. Yeah, let's go extra channel. Extra channel's really good. Rogue. Piranha Strike. When wielding a light weapon or any other weapon that can be used with weapon finesse, you can choose to take a -1 penalty on all melee attack rolls and combat maneuver checks to gain a +2 on melee damage rolls. This bonus is halved to 50% if you are making an attack with an offhand weapon. Okay, that's fine. When your base attack reach... Okay, so this is essentially what I took, but for rogues. Yeah, let's do that. You, wizard. Spell penetration would be nice on him. Now let's go with spell penetration. Spell penetration is really good. Okay, 4th level spells. Let's go with a medium elemental. And... Whoa. You point your finger and fire a black ray of negative energy that suppresses life force of any living creature it strikes. If it hits, the subject gains 1d4 temporary negative levels. To climb the walls, a creature needs a successful athletics or mobility skill check with a DC of 30. When the duration of the spell ends, creatures within the hole rise up with the bottom of the pit until they are standing on the surface over the course of a single round. Bro, that is sick. Let's get that. Hit abilities are so good. And how are you doing on levels? You're a whopping 33 experience away. Okay. Alright, so I need to go to the Baron with both of those matters. Did you handle the troublemakers on top of everything else? An uprising is just what we need. I heard that the owners of a tavern in the Blackstone's Ford are murdering their guests, though the source of the information was highly unreliable, a passing bard who reeked of alcohol. We didn't clear the monsters out of these lands just so scoundrels should settle here. Let me check this bard's story next time we pass this place. What can you say of Willis Gunderson? What does your mercenary gut tell you? Gunderson himself doesn't bother me. It can't hurt to have him in the barony. We still don't have much entertainment here, and that lad's a free circus show for anyone who cares to watch. But that bracelet... You know, I sent scouts to retrace Gunderson's steps. They couldn't find any sign of him. That's one hell of a location. Hills, mountains, gorges, and 1,000 caves. He lied about where he found it. We'll be looking for its true origin for years. I don't like that. And I know about a dozen unhappy stories that begin with an unknown ancient relic suddenly appeared. That's why I'm writing our western neighbors in the Shrike Hills. Maybe they have a good sorcerer or a historian who can help us puzzle out what this bracelet is. Oh, hell yeah, dude, I do. I totally do. After the quarrel with Cephal, you mentioned some letters that gave you a headache. You mind if I ask you what those are about? I received a letter with some threats. You do know how these letters with threats make me laugh. Ha ha ha. Magar doesn't actually laugh, but sullenly articulates each ha, emphasizing his dark mood. As if this whole government headache wasn't enough, now there's another contender from Burvoy, scheming for their own piece of a pie. I wonder why he dislikes an alliance between Varnhold and the barony of Shrike Hills. Here, read it, if you like. Baron Magar Varn, I'm writing to you as your ally and well-wisher. The reasons for my letter is the lack of foresight in your actions. You are trying so hard to become friends with the ruler of Shrike Hill's barony. You invite your neighbor, I lost my place. You invite your neighbor to pay you a visit. You even send rich gifts. Have you nothing more to do in your lands? I strongly recommend you stop flirting with this upstart person and turn your gaze to the affairs of the day. If you are trying to cross the path with powerful forces that can reach you even in your own castle, you should know your place. The wishes of good health and calm sleep. Wow. I'm not certain of the author, but I can make a guess. A few years ago, the mother of this little rat hired us to find him, remember? From the moment we met him, we wanted to tie him to a tree in the forest and leave overnight. Just to teach him a lesson. If he wasn't heir to one of the great houses of Bravoy, I would have done just that. Maybe something good would have come of the little rat. I cannot get these headphones to sit comfortably. There we go. I've handled the troublemakers. It's too bad the settlers decided to leave our lands. Well, at least the troublemaker won't be starting any more riots. Of course, we won't go so far as to execute her, but keeping her in prison doesn't make any sense either. Let's take her to the border and give her the boot. Let her slink back to Galt or wherever she wants. But if she sets foot in our lands again, she'll only have herself to blame. Although after learning about her tricks, no one else will trust her. Something else has come up. We need to discuss the new trainees. Recruitment needs to be... What's that noise? Who's making trouble? Willis. Your Grace, your hour has come. That didn't sound quite right. I mean, it's your time to shine, to show off a bit even. Your subjects require your protection. Will you refuse the pitiable creatures... a heroic feat? Wait, what? Will you refuse the pitiable creatures a heroic feat? Sveslava. You're the pitiable creature. Now stop fussing and be quiet. I'll explain everything myself. A woman wearing a simple peasant's clothes steps forward, pushing Gunderson aside. Your Grace, my name is Svetislava. I am from the village of Old Stump. We've lived here a long time and always minded our own business. But since you started to rule here, we became, as it turns out, your subjects. Well, we paid our taxes on time and brought you grain and meat, but now woe has come upon us, so it's your turn to prove that you're good for more than just collecting taxes. I honor my duties to my subjects. What has happened? Do you remember, Your Grace, that unforgettable day of our first acquaintance when we met those terrible, but in a way quite amazing creatures? Well, why do you keep butting in, you rattlebox? You keep quiet. I'm not dumb, I can talk. So, Your Grace, woe has come upon us. Dead cyclopes have risen from their graves and are moving slowly towards our village. If you don't help us, they'll gobble all of us up in no time. Willis, you seem nervous. What is it? He looks away. Well, how do I put this? I think to a certain extent, I may be partially responsible for what's going on, metaphorically speaking, because I was first to be attacked by the Cyclopes, you know. What if I'm the one who brought them here? It's unlikely, I know, unless they're here to reclaim that bracelet. But calm down, the Cyclopes are our problem, and we're going to solve it. I'll lead the party personally. Gwendolyn, choose the best of the Varnhold host. We march at once. The others will remain here, ready for battle, in case these Cyclopes come here too. Zombie Cyclopes. I'd say it's unheard of, but as this young man pointed out, we've already met them once, and that means we might have to meet them again. If we're to protect the barony, we'll need to find out more about them. I'll go with you. We must try to discover where they came from and what we can do to stop them. Thank you, Your Grace. There's another problem. The zombie Cyclopes have the power to control a person's mind. When the monsters came, some of our people became insane. They began to worship them. You must do something about these lunatics or they'll kill us all themselves. Thank you for the warning. We'll do whatever it takes to help our village. You guys, are you ready? Yeah, sure. Can't level him up here. That's fine. Level them up on the field. That's my stabby...
Cannibals? In my lands? I can't believe it. Just let me get my hands on the scum, I'll have their heads.
You're right to withhold judgment on unproven accusations. Your job is to find out the truth and conduct a fair trial. You cannot pronounce a sentence unless you ascertain there was a crime.
Alright, let's level him up. Inquisitor. Summon monster 4. Excellent. I should have gotten that guy medium armor, actually, now that I think about it. Okay. +2 on athletic checks and a +4 on fortitude saves against fatigue and exhaustion. Alright, let's do that. Oh, level 1 spells first. Cause Sphere. He's gonna be up close, so this works. Delay Poison Communal. Let's do Sea Invisibility Communal. Oh, I'm doing that, sorry. We'll do Resist Energy Communal, actually. It's nice having a guy up front who can cast communal spells like that. Hey, the elephant and the dog grew up. Oh yeah, Cappy also came up with names for the elephant and the dog. I remember the elephant. The elephant's name is Babar. Hold on. That's right, that's right. So the elephant's name is Babar, the mastodon, and the dog's name is Bish. Like B-I-S-H. Because Bishes be trippin'. Oh, God. We're so stupid. Anyway, where am I? Right. Binging with Babar and Bish. Three people are sitting at a table in a tense silence. An old couple and a young man. They turn to you suddenly, making little effort to conceal their dismay. Good afternoon. Am I interrupting something? No, not at all. Welcome, dear guests. Please sit down. How can we help you? Would you like to have a dinner? Or maybe a room for the night? Oh, this is the tavern where they're killing people, perhaps? Make sure not to order any meat. I heard it's strange here. What? Abby? What's that? Oh. Nice. I'm afraid we don't have any meat, only cabbage soup and bread. But the bread is fresh. Sure you're alright? Yes, of course. Don't worry about a thing. Then I suppose you won't mind if my people take a look around your inn. By the way, I forgot to introduce myself. Magar Varn, the Baron of these lands. I've heard a rumor that guests at your inn are treated rather poorly. But I'm sure this is idle gossip. The old man looks at the old woman, and then you, and then his eyes turn back to Magar. Yeah, of course. Please look around. I assure you everything here is in order. Magar turns to you and winks surreptitiously. Cephal and I will remain here, just in case, to keep an eye on everyone. You have a look around, and if you have any questions, I'm sure our dear hosts will be happy to answer them. Talk to the young man. So who are you, and what are you doing here? I'm Yorgish, a simple merchant from Restov. I'm on my way to Galt to trade. I've been here before, and I've never had any problems. The beds are warm, and the food is good, and the roof doesn't leak. And the old people, who are you guys? I'm Mitko Bragic, and this is my wife Kalina. We come from Brevoy. Wanted to move someplace new, and we opened this inn. Right, there's lots of passers-by here, settlers, merchants. And we thought an inn by the ford would be sure to have regular flows of guests. And treating our guests badly, why, that's slander. I swear by the gods, we value our reputation. Go see what I can find. Keep your eyes peeled. Any evidence might be important. Yeah. Conduct an investigation. Yeah. You ever clean your glasses and then like they're dirtier after you've cleaned them? You're just like, how did that happen? The dog has a large wound which has barely begun to heal. So very recent. There's an open book on the ground. You can swear the dog has been intently studying its pages. The dog seems interested in cookbooks. The fuck?
The path is clear.